Hello everyone, my name is Richie and welcome back to another video. Today I'm discussing the upcoming Bahnstrecke Rosenheim to Salzburg route that's coming next week to trainsimworld 4. So I thought today I could discuss a little bit about what we can expect to see in this upcoming route. Discuss a little bit about the layers, the rolling stock, what we can see on the route. And I thought I'd do this discussion today in the form of a PowerPoint presentation because, well, why not? So yeah, I hope you lot enjoy this, and let's see what we can expect from the upcoming Rosenheim to Salzburg route. I'm going to start off by saying, what do we already know? So based on what we already know on the, what's the date today? It's the 19th of February, and I'm planning on posting this on Wednesday the 21st. So if an article has come out in the meantime, I do apologise if there's more information that we do know. I'm hoping that if there is an article and the information's right, then at least this is still a worthy video. So yeah, as of Monday the 19th of Feb, this is what we know. We know that it's a cross-border route between Austria and Germany, predominantly in Germany. We're getting the DBBR 111 included. It's roughly 89 kilometers long, which I forget what that is in miles. I did look it up, but I can't remember. There's 13 stations, but technically there's 14 because when the route is set, which is also what we know, it's set in 2013, there is 14 stations, but is it Salzburg Liefering or Liefering that's being built when this route is set, so technically we can only serve 13 stations. We've also got another border crossing route, which I'm going to discuss a little later on. And we've also got a ton of layers, including the BR628. We also know that the release date is next Tuesday, the 27th of Feb, and the price is £29.99. Is it €35.99 and $39? Something like that. And if you pre-order it on Steam, you get 10% off. I'm hoping there's like 10% off on the day of purchase for PlayStation and Xbox, but I'm guessing not. So here's the route map. As you can see, we've got quite a nice twisty-turny route between Rosenheim and the border between Germany and Austria. And the portion of the route in Austria is part of the Salzburg S-Bahn network, so that's why the stations are closer together. I must admit, the route does look quite interesting. It gives me sort of a Maintalbahn sort of vibe, to be honest. Which is interesting because I'm not the biggest fan of Maintalbahn, but there's not really much going on like timetable-wise. I think because obviously we've got newer routes with such vast timetables now that Maintalbahn seems kind of dull. So I'm hoping they do it justice because obviously we're going to get, well, I'll go into the timetable, but we are going to get a variety of different services. So let's discuss the included Loco, which is the DBBR 111. So there we go, there's a picture of the 111 that we got from the Dovetail Direct live stream, and it looks like we're going to be getting it with Dostos, which is it's a bit of a shame really because we've got the N-Wagons in there now and there's so much opportunity to include new wagons. So I know they're everywhere in Germany and they can't help but include them. I understand why they include them, but obviously we've got different types of wagons and there's so much opportunity to have newer wagons, so I don't know why they don't use this opportunity to bring new ones in. Anyway, so a little bit about the DBBR 111. It's the successor to the 110, which we have in the game. We got that with Bremen to Oldenburg. It was built in the 1970s. I think it was built in 1974, if I remember correctly. It's one of them sorts of units that has it's got a tap changer instead of a lever for acceleration, which I personally am not a big fan of because the clicking noise, it sends me a bit nuts, if I'm honest. But that's just me. I'm easily irritated. So yeah, that's not a fault of the developers at all. A total of 227 units were built, if Wikipedia is correct. And I think I remember reading that 2 of them have been scrapped, and the rest of them still remain in service. With most of them still being in service, I can expect them to layer into all the German routes, like the 110 has, which like layered into Rhine-Ruhr-Osten and whatever other routes that that whole Dostos. So let's talk a little bit about the timetable. Here's what I found on Wikipedia regarding the timetable. Obviously this is based on 2024 and it's a route that's set in 2013, so I'm guessing the service count's not going to have changed as much. It's just run by different operators now. I think now you've got, is it Westbahn and you've got that Bayerische Regiobahn that are the new operators, relatively new, speaking new operators. So I'm guessing back in 2013 these would have all been operated by DB. So yeah, you can see that there's M classes which are hourly, there's RBs which are individual services. I don't know whether that means they're like once every 3 hours or if they're just a few throughout the day. We've also got S3 services which are hourly, which I find quite interesting because I think there's also S2 that run along this line as well. We've got intercity services, we've got, I think they're Eurocity services, and we've got Railjet services. Now, the Railjets I'm going to come on to because they're quite a key part of this line. So yeah, from what we've seen, you know, there's a fair bit to this timetable. It could be a big timetable. So as I mentioned earlier on, this route does form part of the Salzburg S-Bahn network, and as you can see from this map, if you can see my mouse, we've got Salzburg Hauptbahnhof there, and we've got Freilassing. Is that how you say that? Freilassing? Not a clue. We've got S2 and S3 that run along here. We can expect at least 2 trains per hour in each direction, S-Bahn, and then we've got intercity and regional added on top of that. So we're going to get a fair few services. So yeah, we're definitely going to get a large timetable and a lot of AI services. I think obviously the key one for AI services is going to be around Salzburg. We're going to get intercity, regional and S-Bahn services. The intercity, as we saw, every 2 hours with the Railjets and other intercity stock. The regional services are hourly. I think they're the ones that are going to be operated by the 111. And S-Bahn, which are S2 and S3, and they are run hourly. I think they've both got a service an hour each. So in total, we could be looking at something around 3 to 4 trains in each direction per hour. And I'm thinking we're going to get around 300 to 400 services. I'm not too sure what freight does on this route. I couldn't find anything about that. So I'm going to say 400 services, roughly. So on to the layered services. Let's see what we can expect. So here's a couple of screenshots that we've got recently. As you can see, we're getting the OBB 4024s. I think they're going to make up pretty much most of the OBB fleet that would be at Salzburg. There we go, we've got the 111 there. This isn't a picture that they've provided, but I do think we're going to get some DBBR 101 services because, well, when I looked at a cab ride video and it showed a DBBR 101, so the intercity services, I think there's going to be a few operated by these beautiful units. And there's also going to be 628s from the cab ride video, and also I looked at a passenger view video on YouTube. There was a lot of 628s, so I think we could expect to see them. So here's a list of the layers that I think we're going to be getting. So we're going to get the DBBR 146 for freight runs. If there's freight on the route, I'm not too sure. We're going to get the OBB 4024 and the 1116 when Semmeringbahn comes out. I think we're also going to see the 628 and the 642 DMUs. I think we're going to get 642s because I watched a Trains at Salzburg video, and there was a lot of 642s there. A couple of these videos, if I remember, I'll link them in the description because they are quite interesting. And then I think, you know, if there is freight, I think obviously all the applicable freight locos like the Vectron and whatever else classes of the freight loco, they'll sub in. And the same story with the passenger hauled locos, so like the 110, the 185. There's quite a few of them anyway that I think they'll sub in for the 111. And then, like I mentioned, for intercity stock, we're going to get the DBBR 101. Of course we are. And maybe we could see some ICE stock. I'm not too confident about it because I didn't see much about it. But we might get like the odd 1 or 2 runs. So let's talk about the potential DLC they could bring to this route. I know that not all route DLC have Loco DLCs, but if when I do these sorts of videos I see an opportunity to suggest a DLC that could be added onto it, I am going to do it. So in this case, I think we could potentially expect to see a Railjet. I know that we're getting the Taurus 1116, but these are obviously different, and you've got like a cab car and whatever else. I do think if they were going to do a Loco DLC, they'd do this. And the reason why I'm hypothesizing this and saying that we can expect this is because we did actually have an unnamed Austrian Loco on the roadmap in December, or whenever it was. I don't think it was in February. You know, out of all the possible Austrian Locos they could bring to the game, this one seems to make the most sense. And finally, I'm going to discuss some of the route features that we can expect. So we can expect it to be a cross-border route. We know that it's mainly in Germany, and we can expect it to be a very seamless border crossing, very similar to what it was like in Vorarlberg, where unless you know about it, you don't notice the crossing at all. From what I've looked at on Google Maps, it does actually cross over a river, and it does look a bit more significant. Also, I think there's been an upgrade to the track between that Featuresl and Salzburg, so I think the actual track bed will look a bit different as well. But other than that, it will be pretty much seamless. Obviously, you're not going to stop the train and present your passport and stuff like that. It's going to be a very scenic route. There's some big lakes on the side of this route, closer to Rosenheim. So yeah, it's going to be very scenic if done well. Especially with all the LiDAR data, it could be a really pretty route. Salzburg and Rosenheim will be super busy stations, you know, especially Salzburg. I feel like now that they've got a few bits of Austrian stock, it will be quite busy. And like I said, we've got some other key stations at Featuresl, which is the end of one S-Bahn line and the start of another, so expect a lot of AI around there as well. There's a few other things they mentioned, there's a few yards, and there is also the Euro Park shopping centre as well, which is near Salzburg, Hauptbahnhof, so I expect we can see that as well. And I think there's also a miniature railway, but I forget what it was called. And I forget where it is, but they did mention that there's like a museum with a miniature railway in it. So yeah, there's a couple of things that we can expect from the route itself. So on to my final thoughts about this route. I'm quite looking forward to it, but I am on the fence because, like, unless the timetable's really good, I'm not going to get it. Like, we're expecting big things, really, like a big timetable and, you know, the first time that we're properly seeing DB and OBB mixed together in a timetable. So, you know, if it's pulled off well, it could be a really good route. I'm expecting this to be quite popular amongst like German and Austrian rail fans, definitely. But what do you think? Are you looking forward to this route? Are you planning on getting the route? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if I've missed anything. Although I've done a bit of research, I'm bound to have missed one or two things. So if I have got something wrong or if I've missed something, please do let me know in the comments, because I'm happy for you to tell me. Just be nice about it, because that's the only way I'm going to learn. But apart from that, that's what we can expect from the Bahnstrecke Rosenheim to Salzburg route, which is coming out next Tuesday when this comes out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And depending on what the timetable and the preview stream look like, depends on very much whether I get it or not. And if I do get it, you can expect a first look on the channel. So yeah, that's pretty much everything to talk about the route right now. So I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.